It's my life. Okay. Hi, hello. How are you? What's your name? Bye, hello, hello, hi. তারপর বাই কেন? Hello, gaming. Cutie. Hello, cutie. Gaming house. My name Shubho. Your name Shubho? Where are you from?
Bangladesh?
Are you from Bangladesh?
Yes.
আমার বাড়ি হচ্ছে ঢাকা।
Uganda.
আমার বাসা হচ্ছে ঢাকা, আমি ঢাকায় থাকি। ও, আচ্ছা, আপনার বাসা ইন্ডিয়া? ওকে, আপনি ইন্ডিয়া থেকে বলছেন। গুড। আমি ক্যামেরার সামনে এসে চুল ঠিক করি, ফানি। গেমিং হাউস মিতু দেখাও। কি? ও, মুখটা দেখাও কেন? মুখ দেখতে হবে কেন? ওকে, ঢাকায় আমার একটা বন্ধু আছে। ভালো। ঢাকার ছেলেমেয়েরা বন্ধু হিসাবে অনেক ভালো। আপনি কি ঢাকায় এসেছেন আপনার বন্ধুর বাড়িতে? বন্ধুর বাড়িতে কখনো এসেছেন? ওকে, সো বন্ধুর বাসায় এসে একদিন বেরিয়ে যাবেন। ইন্ডিয়ার মানুষ তো ঢাকায় আসতে অনেক পছন্দ করে, তারা ঢাকায় আসে, ঘুরতে আসে। আবার বাংলাদেশের মানুষও যায়, ঘুরতে যায় ইন্ডিয়াতে, প্রচুর যায়। এ ব্যাপারে আমি কিছু বলতে পারবো না, সরি। আমি জানি না কে কাকে পছন্দ করে, কে কাকে পছন্দ করে না। বাংলাদেশের মানুষ ইন্ডিয়ানদেরকে পছন্দ করে বা ইন্ডিয়ানরা বাংলাদেশিদেরকে পছন্দ করে, এই ব্যাপারে আমার কোনো আইডিয়া নাই, কারণ আমি ওইভাবে কারোর সাথে পরিচিত না। আর হচ্ছে আমার কোনো ফ্রেন্ডও নেই, সো জানি না।
Attention westward to the Khwarezmian Empire, which stretched from modern-day Iran to Central Asia. The campaign was swift and brutal. Great cities like Bukhara and Samarkand centers of Islamic learning and culture fell to the Mongol onslaught. It was during this campaign that Genghis Khan's empire truly began to take shape. He didn't just conquer territories, he connected them. He established a vast network of roads and relay stations, the YAM system, that allowed for rapid communication across his growing empire. He encouraged trade and the exchange of ideas, creating a level of globalization that wouldn't be seen again for centuries. As his empire expanded, Genghis Khan showed a remarkable ability to adapt and learn. He incorporated scholars, engineers, and artisans from conquered lands into his administration. He promoted religious tolerance, understanding that a diverse empire required flexibility.
হাই জানো প্যারাশুট বেলি ফুল এনেছে নতুন মাল্টিভিটামিন অয়েল। হ্যাঁ জানি তো, প্রথমবারের মতো ভিটামিন ই ও সি সমৃদ্ধ মাল্টিভিটামিন অয়েল যা
MD Manik. Hi, MD Manik. How are you? Raja Chaudhary. Hi, Raja Chaudhary. How are you?
Wonder if you're eating.
Smart refrigerator, smart life, smart refrigerator.
Do you ever wonder if you're eating too much salt? It's 1 billion people globally actually have high blood pressure. And the first line of treatment is actually to reduce your salt.
And have you ever tried to cut down?
The next day when we started the new diet, we said, it's disgusting, really. My parents, my siblings and their families, they think we are really crazy.
This is The Food Chain from the BBC World Service with me, Ruth Alexander. And this week we're finding out what happens when you eat salt.
the sodium ions go from the pretzel into the cells and make a spark. It's kind of an amazing thing.
Wow. It's like my tongue is alive with
Exactly.
flavour.
So it brings everything out.
We'll be looking at how much is too much, how to cook with it, and without it. First, let's have some brunch. This is the expert chopping of Dan Barber, chef at Food Sorcery Cooking School in Manchester, England. So what are you cooking us today?
So I'm going to do a shakshuka, which is a baked eggs dish with tomatoes, onions, chili, garlic,
I'm
coriander,
doing ratatouille.
some
Yeah, I'm doing
avocado,
good.
some lime to finish, and lots and lots of lovely salt.
Like, how important is salt to you as a chef?
I think salt defines the difference between a chef and a cook, really. I mean, a chef's pinch is very different sometimes to a home cook's pinch of salt. My pinch can occasionally look like a handful of salt, depending if I'm seasoning water to blanch vegetables, for example. Then that pinch of salt becomes a handful of salt. I think the only reason that would be bad is if you were drinking the blanching water afterwards,
So it makes food taste better.
in my opinion. Well, in everybody's opinion, I think salt makes food taste better, but I think you have to be careful not to over-season. Yeah.
You say that like it's simple. How do you know what is over-seasoned?
I think years of training, sort of subconsciously, you learn about it as you go along, because it is in everything. It's sort of installed into you from an early age, or from an early part of your training. So I'm gonna
Ratatouille, are you learning our speech today? Oh yeah, I'm learning. I try to learn every day, at least a little bit. Right now I'm listening BBC podcast. Yeah, I just at the time of chatting with people, and I'm listening podcast. So I'm doing both, chatting with people and listening to podcast.
start cooking it, okay? So at this stage we're gonna season this. You season in layers, okay? So you notice then when I seasoned it wasn't too much. That was a pinch, okay?
That was quite a generous
That was
pinch.
quite a generous pinch, but I'm a chef, I can't help it. Yeah.
And then you're going to add a little bit more later.
A little bit more later, yeah, probably a lot more later, yeah, but you'll be the judge of whether it's nice or not, whether it's or over seasoned. At this stage then we're gonna go in with our tomatoes, okay? So and then we're just gonna mix those up. Now, it's quite important with tomatoes that you use a little bit of sugar as well. and salt,
Tomatoes.
okay? So the sugar's going to obviously bring out or add to the sweetness of the tomatoes.
And what's the salt going to do?
So the
Yeah,
salt
it's
is
BBC
gonna,
program
in my
about
opinion,
salt.
identify all the different flavours.
What
So
salt
it's not
does
that
to
we're
your
gonna be
food
tasting
and
salt,
body?
you think. We're going to be tasting the
Shouldn't
tomatoes
take-
more.
Exactly, yeah, so it just complement it to be able to pick it all up. Let's have a little taste. So, having tasted that now, you can do with some more salt, okay?
You felt it could do with more. I was two
Yes.
pinches there. Two more pinches. listener.
Two more pinches of salt, okay?
So you're thinking about not just how much to salt, but when to salt.
Exactly, yeah, totally. So the next thing we're going to do is move on to our flatbread. So we have got red flour and water, okay?
So this is going to be a flatbread.
This is going to be a flatbread.
Is it true? I've heard that you need to put salt in bread, not just for the flavour, but actually for the structure of it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Not so much in the flatbread that we're making now, but certainly in sourdoughs or anything with yeast that's going to rise. So salt goes into your yeast and water mix when you're making it as well. So it will react, okay?
As a chef, have you ever had, the waiter come to the kitchen and say, table 6, they don't want any salt added to their food?
Yes, certainly.
How do you feel about that?
No, I don't have an issue with it. I understand why chefs do sometimes, purely because, you spend all this time making these dishes for somebody to say, I don't want salt, because what's the point, But, I mean, I'm not that sort of chef, but I do know chefs that are.
But would you privately think when you're serving the
Yeah,
food?
privately, you go in, You really want to season it up properly as you would a chef, and you start thinking, what's the point of me being here, sort of thing.
Dan Barber. So why do we like the taste of salt so much? I asked Paul Breslin, Professor of Nutritional Sciences at Rutgers University, member of the Burnell Chemical Senses Center, the Smell and Taste Sensory Research Institute in Philadelphia, United States.
Salt is necessary for life. It is necessary for cells to function. It's especially important to electrically active cells, which includes all of our neurons, our brain, our spine, all of our muscles. And it's also an incredibly important integral component to skin and bone. And we don't really have the same kind of physiological mechanisms to store it and draw upon it when we need it, like we do calcium. So when we run low on sodium, there's really only one solution for us, which is we have to go find it and eat it.
And if we don't, we die.
If we don't, we die. We need it for life, and so it's something that we always seek out, we like innately, and we value very much, even culturally.
How do we taste it? Like, what's happening in the mouth?
There is a microorgan, which is a cluster of about 100 to 120 cells that make up what we call a taste bud. They're all over the tongue and the soft palate of the throat. And they're microscopic, and in these cells are cells that tend to specialize for different qualities of taste. The cells that specialize in salt have mechanisms for responding to salt that are known to us, and then there's some that we're still trying to figure out now. One of the mechanisms for tasting salt is through ion channels. But what's remarkable about this mechanism is that when you bite into a salty pretzel, the sodium ions that are making up those salt crystals will dissolve into your saliva. And those same sodium ions will pass through one of these channels, going from the pretzel inside the cells in a taste bud and directly activate the cell electrically from that flow of ions into the cell. It makes a little electrical spark. It's kind of an amazing thing.
So your body and your mind gets excited when you taste salt.
Both electrically, literally, and of course, yes, figuratively.
But people will say, oh, there's no salt on this steak, I can't taste it. I mean, are they right? Does salt enhance other flavors?
Yes, so chefs generally understand that a very small amount of salt, a pinch of salt in an entire dish, brings out flavors. And people have long argued that salt is a flavor enhancer. And it probably doesn't by itself enhance anything. It's more likely a suppressor, particularly for off notes in food, for bitterness. But the act of doing that can make some of the more positive notes, like sweetness or savoriness, get stronger. And, an example of this is grapefruit. Some people actually like to salt like a half a grapefruit if they eat it for breakfast. And by doing that, they'll be suppressing some of the bitterness, and the sweetness will, under that circumstance, get stronger.
So it's not so much a flavor enhancer, it's a flavor disguiser. Curious.
Yes.
It's quite intriguing, salt, isn't it?
Yes, and in a baked good, it's going to have even more to do. So the browning reactions of anything from making cookies to baking a loaf of bread to even grilling meats like a steak, those aromas and those chemical reactions in the food that make it turn brown need salt for them to occur. So if you made a loaf of bread without adding any salt to it, the bread will come out looking extremely pale. It won't smell like a fresh baked loaf of bread because those browning reactions also give it that aroma.
Golly, that's the salt doing that.
It's really amazing all the different roles salt plays in food.
Professor Paul Breslin. You're listening to The Food Chain from the BBC World Service with me, Ruth Alexander. This week, what happens when you eat salt? So salt makes food taste, feel, look, and even smell better. Only trouble is, we're told to eat less of it. Why?
I'm getting
I asked Claire
sleepy.
Collins, Professor of Nutrition and Dietetics at the University of Newcastle in Australia.
So when you have
It's good.
too much
It's good
salt,
lesson
the
to
first thing your
know
body can do is says,
how actually
I'm going to
salt
dilute
does
you.
work.
So it
in our
retains
body.
water, so your blood pressure's got to have a little bit of a kick along to pump all this fluid around your body. And that's actually why your blood pressure goes up.
And what are the impacts over time?
Yeah, well, the impacts over time are
I'm
devastating.
getting sleep.
So if you kind of think of your arteries like the same way you might think
But
about
it's
your
not
garden hose.
time to
If you
get
get your
sleep.
hose out every day and you just turn it on at a nice volume and you water all your plants, your hose is going to last forever and ever. But if every day you turn that hose on full bore, like a fire hydrant amount of water blasting through your garden hose, well, that garden hose is not going to last very long. And so essentially, that's what's happening in your arteries. And then if you've got any weaknesses in any of those blood vessels, like in your brain, that can burst and you could have a stroke.
So how much salt is too much salt?
Well, this is where there's a slight difference in recommendations around the world. In the UK, your target is 6 grams per day, and 5 or 6 grams is a teaspoon. Like completely level, it's 5 grams, a little bit rounded, it's 6 grams.
No,
In Australia,
actually,
our target is
in
5
the evening,
grams.
if I get sleep,
But
then
you're already way ahead in
it
your average
will be
intake.
late
The average intake of
when it
salt in the
comes to
UK
getting
is 8
sleep at
grams per
night.
day.
So
In Australia,
it
we're
has been
9 grams
already
per day.
too
But when you
late.
look around the
It's
whole
not time to
world,
get sleep
the
for me.
average for the whole world is
So
actually
no,
closer
that's why
to
I'm trying to
11
interact
grams.
with people so that
So at the whole world,
I can be distracted from getting sleep, because there is not time to get sleep. If I get sleep, then I couldn't sleep properly at night. So I have to talk. Or after a few minutes, I'm going to make coffee. Then it can be okay. I don't feel asleep after having coffee. So right now I'm listening podcast. That's why I'm just going to get sleep. It's just I feel sleepy. It's very normal. Shuhaguru Chala. Hi, what's that name? Intubert. Hey, Intubert. Are you Intubert? How are you? Yeah, I'm doing good. What about you? Thank you for asking me. You from? Okay, I'm from Bangladesh, Dhaka. Yeah, coffee is good. I have it after some time. Yeah, I prefer having coffee in the morning time, the early morning time, and in the evening time, because it can help me to reduce my weakness, my exhaustion. At the same time, when I get sleep, I just try to have coffee because it can help me to get distracted from getting sleep. So, oh, super. Yes, you are introvert. Okay, you are introvert again. Why you are introvert? Okay, it can be. There are some of the people are so introvert, and others are very friendly, extrovert. But I would be the middle one, not introvert, not extrovert. You can't believe I have a friend same like you, looking same. Wow. Oh, nice to hear. It's lovely to hear for me that your friend and your friend looks like me. Good. By the way, where are you from? Where do you live, actually? Introvert, where are you from? Dabat, what are you chanting? By the way, you have a beautiful and oh, okay, nice comment that I forgot. Okay. Oh, it sounds good. You are from Kashmir. Oh my god. So fascinating place, Kashmir. It's the just heaven of the world. Kashmir. In the future, I'll go Kashmir to experience such a beautiful, amazing place, just like heaven. So what are you doing these days? Do you study? Yeah, sometime I have to continue my study, other time I have to work domestic work, and sometime cooking, other times all about working or doing study, making live, and as well as making videos for my YouTube channel. I'm not YouTuber, but I try actually, in my channel recently I am going to make videos on vocabularies because I've learned lots of words, but it's so hard to remember all types of words, so I just start to make videos on that so that I can warmly welcome introvert. I'm so happy to meet with you, introvert. I wish you will be extrovert.
World level, we need to halve our salt intake.
And that's been done in the UK through regulation. The government has said to companies, you need to reduce how much salt you're putting in this processed food.
Yeah, absolutely. Anywhere between 2/3 to 3/4 of salt actually comes from the processed foods. But what was really clever about your country, and why I think the UK is an example for the world, is that most people living there don't know that. It wasn't like, today you're allowed to have regular salt in your food, and tomorrow we're cutting it down by 50%. It was kind of done by stealth. Population blood pressures went down, and then the healthcare costs started to decrease because, they started to be able to model the cases that never happened, the strokes that didn't happen, the heart disease that didn't happen, the kidney disease that didn't happen.
It's worth noting that some recent evaluation of the UK's salt strategy have found that progress has plateaued, that after average daily intake fell by almost 2 grams to a low of around 7.5 grams, it crept up again.
Oh, lovely
The Department of
comment.
Health pointed out
I'm
there was
getting.
an overall decrease between 2000 and 2018
Oh, it's sparing time.
of around a
So
gram,
Maghrib.
taking average daily intake from 9.5.
Salah time is now. So I have to go. Tomorrow we'll meet again afternoon. Now I have to go. Okay. Thank you for joining with me, and tomorrow I'm going to make live afternoon, so I hope we'll meet again. Okay, now I have to go because it's time for pairing, so it's Maghrib already. Adhan is going on around okay, so I have to go. Take care and have a good, it's going to be night, okay, so have a good night, have a good evening. বাই।